I don't think I've met you before, so I'll just introduce myself real quick. Hey, Lavanya. I'm Jessica. I oversee Brokerage Experience here at Radius, and I love talking about operations. In a past life, I was an operations manager for a team, and with my last brokerage, I did a lot of coaching. So helping agents become more efficient in their processes is really important to me. Shannon, I'm getting some feedback. I can hear myself talking on your mic.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. Okay. Maybe that will help. Try talking now, Jess.
I'm talking now.
Okay. Perfect.
Shannon, you've been forcibly muted.
I'm so sorry, Shannon. You can still unmute and everything like that. Don't worry, but just wanted to minimize the feedback.
All right. So I put this on my other monitor and now it's huge. It's going to go really slow, but it's okay. We'll fly through it. So what we're going to talk about today is, first, if you have any interest in expanding your team, or if you want to do more business, you might be thinking to yourself, I need to get my operations in order first. So let's start there. And then in order to get your operations in order, you'll want to figure out all of the processes you do every day. So we'll talk about what some of those processes are. Then we're going to talk about tech. So what tools do you currently use? What tools do you need to use to be organized? And then last, when do you hire help? What order of hires? Like, should you start with a VA or should you start with maybe a buyer's agent? Like, how can we offload some stuff from your plate so you can spend your time doing the activities you enjoy and you want to do, and it's the best use of your time? Any questions on what we're covering today? Before we jump in, Antonio, nice to meet you. Thanks for joining. Can we go around the room real quick, just because we do have a small group, so I feel like we can make this a little bit more personal. Can we talk about, share with the group how many agents are on your team, or if you're by yourself, and if you have an assistant or have ever had an assistant in the past and how that went for you, or why you're here, why you are looking to get more information about operations.
Okay,
Lavanya, you first?
since I have
Angela,
yeah. All right, I am a team leader. My team, when I crossed over, because they wasn't familiar with Radius, so now it's just me and one other agent, and she's part-time. She has a full-time job. She works part-time, but she's trying to transition into full-time real estate.
Awesome. It's a scary move, but about that. It can be worthwhile.
And yes. And we just got, maybe 6 months ago, I hired a transaction coordinator. And that was the best thing that I've ever done. I wish I did it sooner.
I think it's important for everyone to know how to TC their own files, but definitely once you know how to do it, have somebody else do it for you. Lavanya, you want to tell us about your team?
I'm by myself because I want to be flexible with my timings. I have 2 boys, but I have a TC from the last 10 years. She's awesome. She always, she was with me at Entero, but she came along with me and helped me at Radius too. So she handles all my files, and I used to have assistant, like few hours working, not from the US but from other India. But once Canva hit, I started doing my own marketing, everything. It's super easy. I use all the tools by myself, like KVCO or everything, like Moxie, everything I use by myself. So sometimes like training the assistant is a big deal. Sometimes I get frustrated on that one, so I take by myself. But if I have a big team, yes, we will have an assistant. But as of now, everything is going smooth.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Shannon, you want to share some about your business? Janet?
Yes.
There you are.
Oh. Hi Hi, everyone. I am currently by myself as well. I have been all over the place and I have other businesses as well. So I've had assistants and employees and all that good stuff. I use a TC that is really great. Someone that's an extension of you is amazing. But like Jessica said, you should always know how to TC your own files just in case, or something that you need to do really quick.
Yeah.
And I am here because I just want to see what else I can learn, what else is great out there, what's different. I'm always wanting to evolve and grow. So
Awesome.
I'm here.
I love it. Maybe we can have the group share some of the tools you guys are using towards the end when we talk about tech stuff and which tools work well for you, which tools you've struggled to adopt. Antonio, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm in Sacramento. I mean, I've always been by myself for a while now, for a long, long time. And yeah, just like everybody here, from what I heard, I have my own TC that I've had for 14, 15 years.
Nice.
And I mean, you know, I heard the mention of KV Core and so on, which I really don't use much. I mean, all my clients are there, but I use BombBomb. I took off my video from KV Core. I took it off completely, and I'm using BombBomb because BombBomb to me is the best way for me to keep in touch with my clients, because they have a thing called Prompt, BombBomb Prompt, and they send regular emails to my clients directly, so I don't even have to worry about that.
Nice.
So, and yeah, and I use BombBomb hand in hand. I was using KV Core video for the past year, and I just took it off 3 days ago to go back to Prompt, which I find much better than KV Core.
Yeah, it's important to figure out what works for you and your business and invest your money in the things that are getting you the results you see. So
Correct.
awesome. Anybody else on the call want to introduce yourselves real quick? Should I move on? All right. Well, let's jump right in. Thank you guys for sharing. I clicked something and now I've got like a pen on this. Can you guys see what I'm drawing? That's so weird. At least it disappeared. That's funny. All right. So first, most people think about their operations or their back office when you're too busy, but it's important to set yourself up for success before you get too busy, because we all know when you have clients, you're going to prioritize them because that's where the money is. And working in real estate, you are 100% commission. It's important to spend your time and energy on, unfortunately, making money as much as it is helping people you care about. But the time to think about your operations is before you're busy, because that way you've set yourself up for success so that when it is busy, you're not letting balls drop, and you're able to keep in touch with everybody you're supposed to be staying in touch with. You can still prospect while you're working active clients. So let's think about how can we get more business. And I'm going to fly through this part because it's not the focus of the room, but I just want to make it clear that there are so many opportunities to get new business. And this is a hard market. There's a lot going on right now in real estate. And sometimes you just need to go back to the basics. So here are some different buckets or channels where you can get business. And so think about this, like just think about over the last year, over the last 5 years, where has your business come from? So there's your database. This is your sphere of influence, friends, family, past clients. Do you have any hobbies? Are you part of a yacht club and you like to go sailing? Or do you have kids that play sports and you like to socialize with the other parents during the soccer game? Or do you belong to a group that goes hiking? Or I don't know, maybe you are really involved in your church. So what are those things that you do outside of work that maybe you just do it for fun, but you could be having conversations with people to remind them that you do real estate? So that's your sphere database. You should be leveraging a CRM to stay in touch with your database. So anybody you know or see regularly, you should for sure make sure you've added them to your database just to remind them that you exist. We've got lead channels like Opcity, Homelight, Zillow, Ilopo, Probate. So these are platforms that you either pay a subscription fee to, or we call it performance-based, where you pay a referral fee at closing. They will give you leads. They'll give lots of agents leads, and you're picking up the phone real quick and calling them to try to convert them into clients. So that's Opcity and Homelight. Zillow, you pay a subscription fee. Ylopo, you pay a subscription fee. And then probate, there's lots of tools out there for getting probate leads. Networking. I'm a huge advocate of networking because real estate is belly to belly. You guys need to be face to face with your clients to get clients, to meet new people. So I'm a big fan of business professionals groups. Look at your chamber of commerce or go meet other like-minded business owners. And you guys can go do lunch once a month or something and just talk about whatever your businesses are and pass referrals to each other. It's a good opportunity to meet new potential referrals that way. And then vendors as well. Like you have a list of vendors that you recommend to your clients, whether it's a general contractor, painter, cleaning people. If you give them business, they're going to want to give you business as well. So just make sure that you're really friendly with your vendors and recommending them to your clients. And then they will in turn recommend people to you. And if they don't, then you need to ask them to. Don't be afraid to ask them to refer people to you. Marketing, branding. You should have a website for your business. This is your virtual storefront. So whenever you're running an advertising campaign, if you're doing social media posts, you always want to direct traffic back to your website. This is where people are going to learn more about you and decide right there on the fly if you are worth working with or not. So you want your site to be professional and you want it to represent who you are as an agent. Some things you can do to drive traffic to your website are retargeting ads. These are the smart ads where if anybody visits your site, then they'll start getting your ads all over the internet. So if they're looking up a recipe, then they'll see your brand on the sidebar, for example. Brand ads, these are like Google search ads or social media ads that are about your brand. They drive people to your website, try and convert them on your website. And then also another type of brand marketing that's often overlooked is seminars and events, because this is how you create brand awareness for your brand. I love marketing. I love creating new business for agents. We will have different rooms on this, and I do have a marketing playbook. So if any of this is interesting to you, like I said, it's not the point of this room, but just reach out to me and I'm happy to send over that marketing playbook to you or schedule a one-on-one session with you to talk about this a little bit more. Two last categories are marketing for your properties. So like your for sale signs, that's marketing. Just sending out just sold postcards around a listing, that's marketing. Doing just sold ads on social, hosting open houses. Those are things relating to actual listings, or if you're helping a buyer buy a house, you can even do marketing around that house that they purchased. So it's property marketing. And then farm marketing is choosing a geographic area and concentrating a lot of marketing efforts in that geographic area. I like to say, you want to start a small intense fire before you try and burn the whole forest down. So you usually light a spark in one very small space, and then that will catch and catch and catch and grow. And so if you are servicing all of Los Angeles County, or if you're servicing all of San Francisco Bay Area, you're probably not starting that small intense fire, and you should pick a neighborhood to farm aggressively and invest your energy and your money in that small area first. And then if the business takes you elsewhere, that's fine, but your marketing will be much more effective if it's more targeted. That's not just geography, by the way, that also applies to a demographic. So if you want to target people who are needing to move into care homes or transition, what they call downsizing, or moving, like senior care, for example, that's another type of farming where it's not geographic, but it's for a specific demographic. For each of your buckets, where your business comes from, you should identify and set a realistic annual goal for the number of closings from each of those buckets. So if your sphere of influence is 50 people, it would not be realistic for you to say, I'm going to close 20 people from my sphere of influence this year. It would be more likely that you would close 1 or 2 of them because your database isn't that big. Whereas if your database was 10,000 people, it could be more realistic to say, I'm going to close 20 or 30 from my database. So think about all of those buckets, where your business comes from, what marketing you do, how big your database is, how many activities you do where you're talking about real estate, where you're spending your money for advertising, for generating leads, and bucket those and then say, I'm going to do 2 closings from my sphere, 1 closing from my farm. I'm going to hold a buyer seminar and I'm going to get 2 closings from that, and also belong to the yacht club. And that's a lot of money. So I want to make sure I close at least 1 person from the yacht club this year. And so you should know, based on the types of activities you do for each of these groups, like how much outreach you do or how much face-to-face time you get with this group. Like the yacht club, do you go once a month? Do you go once a quarter? How many conversations you need to have, how many people need to tell you they are thinking about buying or selling to get you to that closing. So what's your conversion for each of these buckets? And you'll see here in this example on the slide, your sphere has a high conversion. That's a 50% conversion. Whereas a buyer seminar, you might have 30 people show up, but you're only going to get 2 closings out of it. So be realistic with your conversion and know it's not going to be the same across the board. It really depends on each bucket, each group. Any questions on this so far? Okay, I'll keep going. For each of your buckets, you want to make sure that your database, your CRM, is set up to receive the information that's important so that you can have productive, engaging conversations with those leads. So let's talk about like Zillow leads, for example. Maybe you wanted to try out a subscription with Zillow and you're going to get maybe 20, 30 leads a month from Zillow. So you want to make sure that you're picking up the phone and calling those leads really quickly. You're adding them to your CRM. You are immediately setting up a property alert, either through your MLS or through Real Scout, or they probably have one set up through Zillow already. But you want to make sure that you have control over what they're seeing. So I recommend using a tool like Real Scout for that, or your MLS, because you can also see what they've favorited and they can request showings from you directly through those platforms. Whereas Zillow, they'll accidentally reach out to another agent, not realizing that they're not getting those alerts directly from you. Then you'll probably want to set up an 8x8 campaign or some sort of buyer campaign in your CRM. Have any of you never heard of an 8x8? Anybody from Keller Williams in the past? Just me? All right, I'm a big fan of some of those super basic Keller Williams systems like the 8x8. It's 8 touches.
What is an 8x8?
An 8x8 is 8 touches in 8 days to a prospective buyer to try and convert them into a client. So you get a lead from Zillow. Over the next 8 days, you're going to touch them 8 times, so every single day for 8 days to try and convert them. So you might do a phone call day 1, a text message day 2, an email day 3. You might get them on that search alert on day 1, but then on day 4, you're going to follow up with them about specific properties that you think match their criteria. You're going to give them another call. You might invite them to come to your office for a buyer consult, those kinds of things. So figure out for each of your buckets of where your business might come from, what do you do when you get a lead? And this is the beginning of operations. It's stuff that you do without even thinking about it. You just know because you've been in real estate. And if you were a brand new agent or think back to when you were a brand new agent, if you had a lead handed to you, what did you do? You were like, this is awesome. I'm going to call them, but then what? Right? So at some point in your real estate career, somebody told you what are some of the best practices for what to do with a new lead. So you know, because you've been doing it for 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, you've been in the business for long enough, you know what you do when you get a lead, but you need a system, you need that operations manual so that if you were to bring on another agent to your team, or if you were to hire an assistant and have them help you with some of these processes, it's documented. So what we're going to talk about for the rest of the session is how to document those systems, those processes for yourself. First of all, so that you are consistent with all of your leads and all of your clients. You're doing the same thing for each one. And then second of all, so that if and when you bring in help, you're not starting from scratch. You've already gotten some of this stuff laid out, or you've at least thought about it. And what I love about hiring an assistant, for those of you who are already super busy, is you don't have to write it down yourself. They can sit with you and watch you, and you can brain dump on them and they can write it down for you. So don't worry about having all of your systems in place before you hire help. They can do that for you. So I talked about Zillow leads, your Sphere leads. You might want to create a 33 touch, another Keller Williams, or 33 touch is over the course of a year. Everybody in your database, you want to touch them at least 33 times. So you could have client appreciation events, you could do a hosted happy hour, you could do a phone call once a quarter, you could do an email once a month, you could do maybe a couple happy holidays cards. You pick your favorite holidays and send out actual physical cards for those. So you create a calendar of 33 touches for the year. And if you think about that on average, that's roughly 3 a month. And by the way, if you're hosting a happy hour, let's say in November, and you're giving away pies for Thanksgiving at this happy hour, touch 1, here's the email invite to come to my happy hour. Touch 2, the phone call to say, hey, you haven't RSVP'd yet. Are you going to come? I can't wait to see you. And touch 3, hey, don't forget we have this event tomorrow. And then, by the way, I touch 4, which you don't even need a 4th touch, but the 4th touch would be the event itself. So it's really easy to hit 33 touches if you do events, because then you're calling and texting and emailing them about the event. Lots of extra touches that way. And your assistant can do it for you, even better. In your CRM, which it's very important you have one, because you're not going to be able to keep all of this information about all of these clients and prospects and friends in your head, especially as your business grows, is you want to make sure that you are capturing the information you need. So for your database, you want ongoing outreach. This is the 33 touch. You want some sort of monthly outreach to them that talks about your business, what's going on in the market, what's new in the neighborhood, that kind of stuff. You probably want to know where they live so that you're giving them relevant information. You're not going to tell somebody in Austin what's going on in Dallas. It's just not relevant to them. So it's important to know where they are and to make sure that you're bucketing your audiences correctly for any email outreach you do. For prospective buyers, you want to understand what they're looking for. Is it 3 bedrooms? Is it 4 bedrooms? Is it a condo? Is it a ranch? You want to know how soon they're looking to buy. Are they prepared to buy now? Are they pre-approved? Or they still need to talk to a lender? Are they maybe 6 months or a year out? And then you want to set up any email and text templates in your CRM so that it's super easy to just click a button and get those out when you have a new lead for prospective buyers. Same with prospective sellers. You need to understand a little bit about the property they're trying to sell. It'll help you tailor your marketing plan, what demographic you need to do marketing to drive traffic to that listing. And then any email and text templates and scripts you can set up in your CRM so that you don't have to think when you get a new prospective seller. You have these things already templated, ready to go out. And then for your active clients, don't forget, there are so many things that you can systematize for active clients. So every single week, for buyers looking for properties, you want to do some sort of phone call or email, or maybe it's just your assistant or virtual assistant saying, look at this property that came out, making it a little bit more personal than those automated search alerts. For your sellers, maybe it's a weekly report of how many people came to the open house, how many people toured the house with agents, how many disclosures packages were downloaded. During escrow, you probably want a weekly phone call to the lender, maybe more often than that, a weekly phone call to escrow just to make sure everything's moving along and they've got the documentation they need. After close of escrow, you probably send out some sort of closing gift to your client. Maybe you give them a goodie bag with some champagne or something. Those are all systems that you can document so that your assistant can help you with it later. When you bring on a new agent to your team, they're going to want to know what your systems and processes are, because either A, they need a mentor. They chose to work with you because they want that mentorship, or B, because you need help and you want to make sure that they treat your clients the way that you would treat your clients. So just think about that. And the more systems and processes you have in place and have documented, the easier it is to either get help or give help. So once you have all of those things either documented or set up in a CRM or templated, you can even use Google Docs or whatever it is. You might realize like, oh my gosh, I do so many processes in a given day or week. So just to think about what some of those processes are that you need to systematize. Seller prospects. What do you do when you have a seller prospect? What do you do when you have a signed listing agreement? Now they're an active seller. What paperwork is needed? Maybe you have a checklist that, well, actually, this will be super easy in the new TXM suite. We'll tell you all the paperwork that you need filled out in your disclosures package, and you can just send it to them right from the platform. Scheduling vendors for the reports. You need an inspection. You need a pest inspection. You might need a sewer lateral inspection, all of those things. You're going to schedule vendors for the home prep. They probably need a refresh of their paint, maybe some flooring, some handyman stuff, carpet cleaning. You're going to schedule vendors for marketing. You need a photographer, you need a stager, right? These are all processes. You can use a tool like Trello or Asana to create this listing checklist. And by the way, our new client app that we'll be releasing this fall, we actually have a project management tool built into it for your listings, just pretty epic. For your buyer prospects, you want to confirm the financing with the lender, right? You might want to offer up a couple other lenders for them to shop around, get a better rate. You're going to be constantly looking at inventory, taking them on showings, right? So what are those things that you do for your buyer prospects? And then once your buyers are in contract, what are the steps you do every day or every week? You want to make sure that all of the inspections happen. You want to get all the paperwork signed timely. You need to open or confirm escrow and so on. All of those processes, when documented, they make up your operations manual. And it sounds scary, like an operations manual. Who's got time to write that? Who's got time to read that? But it's really not that scary. All an operations manual is a way to tell somebody else, either an assistant or another agent on your team, what you do in different situations. So I mentioned Asana and Trello. Those are project management tools. You can get all of this stuff in a project management tool where it's like, new buyer, create the thing, apply the template, it spits out all your tasks for you and you mark them off as you go. You can assign due dates. You can have it auto-calculate due dates for you. And you can share this with your assistant so that if there's stuff that should be auto-assigned to your assistant, or if there's stuff that should be auto-assigned to your buyer's agent or showing specialist, it's all in there already. It's very clear every day across all of your clients or across all of your prospects. Here are the things that I need to do today. It's much easier than Post-it notes, much easier than notebooks or whiteboards because it's digital. You can access it on your phone, you can access it on your computer, and you can collaborate with other people so much easier. That is an ops manual. All it is a template so that you know what to do when these situations occur and somebody can help you with it. Okay, so let's talk about bringing on the help. I think most of us agree that a really good client experience is what would bring repeat and referral business, right? You want to make sure that you are doing a very good job for your clients because you don't want them to write a bad review about you. You want to make sure that if they have a friend who needs to buy or sell, that they refer you because they had a good experience and they want their friend to have a good experience. So the whole point of documenting your processes, as tedious as it sounds, is to ensure there's a consistent client experience for all of your clients. And when you get busy, when you're working with 4 clients in escrow at a time, not just in a month or in a year, but at a time, 4 or 5 or 6 clients, you're going to start to forget things and you're going to be running around like a chicken with your head cut off. And so this is when it's really important to make sure that you know what your processes are and you're not dropping the ball or the plates that you have I'm thinking like a circus, right? Juggling plates, right? So you should, as an individual agent or a small team, you should be able to handle easily 1 to 2 clients per month. That means between 12 and 24 closings a year without help. If you're doing 20 deals a year and you're overwhelmed, that means that you have opportunity for improvement in your operations. So think about that. It doesn't mean you have to hire somebody. It means you need to think about your processes and create a better tool or system to make it more efficient for you. 2 deals a year, 2 clients a year. You're spending half of your time prospecting, half of your time working with active clients. If that seems crazy and you're like, I'm doing 5 deals a year right now and I feel like I need help, then you're in the right place. That's what we're talking about today. So what are the things that you can do to optimize your operations? It's creating that ops manual. It's documenting your systems and processes. It's leveraging tools to make your life more efficient. Lavanya mentioned in the intro that she does all of her marketing herself. That's awesome. So she probably has a tool or process or system that she goes in. She's got flyer templates. She knows exactly what she needs to plug in when it's time to put a listing on the market. You have these systems that you've optimized over time. And as you get busier and busier, you just crank them out and you're more efficient, more effective. So if you're feeling overwhelmed already, or if you want to increase your business to a point that you get to feel overwhelmed, which is, I think, the goal for a lot of us, right? Is we want to be so busy that we're overwhelmed and need to hire help because that means more income. You need to acknowledge what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then bring in somebody to cover your weaknesses. So if you struggle with marketing, maybe you bring in somebody to help you with marketing. If you struggle with I was going to say prospecting, but honestly, prospecting is one of the most important things you can actually do. So I will caveat that bullet point with simply, you should be the one getting the business. That is the highest and best use of your time. All of the real estate experts, coaches will say that. You should be prospecting for the new business. That doesn't mean you can't hire somebody to help you with some of the qualifications. Maybe you have an ISA that's pre-qualifying your leads for you, but you should be the one actually converting them. And then you can hire help to do some of the later stuff, like the client concierge stuff, getting the listing prepped, printing the flyers, those kinds of things. If you're not ready to invest in a full-time person, which most agents aren't, and honestly, like, you should be closing at least 24 to 30 deals a year before you spend money on a full-time salary. Highly recommend looking at a virtual assistant because they're much cheaper. You can find virtual assistants that are already trained in real estate and marketing and the things that you don't want to be tethered to a computer and are forcing yourself to do. They can take all of that off your plate. And then, like we said earlier in the call, always hire a TC once you've gotten the basics of contracts under your belt. So you should do your own TC work for a few files till you know some of the ifs and thens and what documents and what the disclosures mean, because you need to be able to have constructive, coherent, productive, informative conversations with your clients about what the disclosures mean. Once you understand all of that, have a TC do it for you. It'll take a lot off your plate, all of that email back and forth, following up for signatures. It's super tedious. They can do all that for you. So how do you figure out what to hire for? First, do a time analysis for yourself. In a given day, in a given week or month, how much time do I spend on various activities? For example, how much time do I spend creating marketing collateral? So you've got a listing coming up. You're going to need to make flyers. You're going to maybe make postcards for the just sold later. You're going to need to market yourself. So if you have an event coming up, you're going to make flyers for that. You maybe tweak your business cards periodically. Creating marketing could also be social media posts and graphics. Like, how many of you spend way too much time trying to figure out what to post on social? So that's one bucket. Another bucket is, how much time do you spend on the phone prospecting? How much time do you spend in the field prospecting, going to those networking events, putting yourself in situations where you're surrounded by people and you just bring up real estate because you have to. That's how you get business. You tell people that you're selling real estate. How much time do you spend touring active clients? How much time do you spend on the phone, putting out fires, dealing with lenders and escrow, trying to solve issues that come up during escrow? What other activities do you do? And as you're cataloging or as you're documenting how much time you spend in each of these buckets, also think about, what do you enjoy doing? What is your favorite part of your job? And what is your least favorite part of your job? And so I did say earlier that the highest and best use of your time is going to be prospecting or actually getting the clients. So you probably want to keep that on your plate. It's hard to sell. It's hard to have somebody else sell you. You're going to sell you better than anyone else. But aside from that, what can you offload that will result? What can you offload that will result in more joy or productivity in your day-to-day life? Let's stop there for a second. Angela, if you had to offload something, like, what's your least favorite part of your job? What would you like to get rid of?
Okay, I mean, what I would like to get rid of is on the phone prospecting.
It's rough. It's just some cold calling. It's following up with people you haven't talked to in a long time. It can be awkward.
Mm-hmm.
That one's hard because if somebody else is calling in your behalf, it's obvious it's a sales call. Whereas if you're calling and you're just catching up with an old friend, or inviting somebody to a happy hour you're hosting, or letting somebody know, hey, there's an art and wine fair in our community this week. I'm going to go there. Were you thinking you'd go? Maybe I'll run into you. You can come up with reasons to call people that make it less awkward, but it's hard to have somebody else do those calls for you and sell you, because it's like, hey, Angela's going to be at the Art and Wine Festival. Are you going to go? That's like, oh, why isn't she calling me? That's kind of awkward, right? So I get it. It sucks, but there are better ways of doing it to make it less painful, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Antonio, what does not give you joy in your day-to-day work? Oh, Christian joined. Hey, Christian. Why don't I pose the question to you? What does not give you joy in your day-to-day work?
Hey, Jessica. I'm along the lines of what Angela said, but I would be a little bit more specific, and it would be narrowing down the search of the people I need to call,
Mm,
because sometimes I feel like I'm calling a lot of people, and it's not targeted enough.
yeah. You want to make sure that if you're spending the time calling, you're calling the people that are the highest likelihood of buying or selling. Makes sense.
Yeah, or referring.
Yes, absolutely. That was a little harder to target, but agreed. Cool. There are tools that can help. I don't know names of propensity data tools, but there are some out there where they'll look at your database and tell you who is most likely to move. I know of one called Prime Street where they'll actually call your database on your behalf to see if anybody's warm, and then you would call them once they're warm. So there are options out there to help with this. My favorite thing is honestly just to create events and then invite people to those events. First of all, it reminds them that you exist if they don't go, and then if they do go, it's an opportunity to catch up with them. It's a little bit more personal. What kind of help should I bring on first? So once you've looked at your time analysis and you know how you spend a lot of your time, figure out what is not a good use of your time. What is not bringing in the income for you? So some things that are really easy to offload are creating marketing collateral. This is recurring marketing for yourself, like farm postcards or door knocking flyers or social media posts, or even listing social posts, listing ads. So any sort of marketing collateral for your brand or for property marketing. We talked about this earlier, transaction coordinators. It's a great way to give you some leverage and not have to deal with all the TDM of all the signatures. Client concierge. So I would only advise hiring a client concierge if you regularly have 3 or more clients in escrow at once. You want to make sure that you've got enough full-time work for a person. So once they've gotten all of your systems documented and they've got those project management tools set up, it's really easy to manage 3 to 12 clients at once. So if you've got fewer than 3 clients at any given time, or you're doing less than 30 transactions a year, you probably want somebody that does a lot more for you than just client concierge. Christian posted a question in the chat.
Any operation manuals you have seen that stand out as great ideas, Jess?
So my favorite is actually the easiest. So the ones, the most effective ops manuals are the ones you're actually going to use. So don't worry about creating something big or beautiful or crazy. And honestly, like what I was mentioning before, it can be as simple as Asana or Trello, where you've got these checklists for what to do in the different situations. That is an ops manual, even though it's a tool, because it would tell you or an assistant or another agent what to do in a situation. So when I created an ops manual for this team that I used to work for, I had a Google sheet, and it was just like an index of links to other documents. So anything that required an explanation or had links to an Asana board or had links to how to create a Google map for door knocking, all of those processes, I made Google Docs for each of them. And then I put them in this index of a Google sheet with links to those docs. So that can be a super effective ops manual, and it's free. It's just a spreadsheet with links to Google Docs, and highly encourage a project management tool as well. Listing prep is a really easy one to offload. If you're doing a lot of listings, then for sure recommend some sort of project manager for you who can call and schedule vendors, go to the property, set the flyers out, make sure all the garbage is picked up, make sure the bathroom has toilet paper before the open houses, those kinds of things. Showing specialist, if you're working with a lot of buyers and you want to shift your focus to sellers because that's the highest and best use of your time, then a showing specialist might be good because you can pay them a percentage of closings. So you're not necessarily paying them per hour or per showing. You can pay them 20% of any clients that close that they show the property for. So that's great for somebody just getting into real estate. And you have them in the car going to the showings, opening the houses for the clients. They're still your clients, but this showing specialist is essentially your assistant getting them into the houses for you. I actually did that for about a year myself, and it was a great intro to real estate. I highly recommend that one. It's nothing out of pocket to you. And then last, an operations manager can do all of these things for you, especially if they're licensed. So if you're doing enough business to be able to justify spending a full-time salary, depending on where you're located, that could range from 60 to 80, maybe even 100K. Ops managers can give you a ton of leverage, and they can do all of this stuff for you. They can even call your clients, call your database for you if you want them to, but be careful with that. Cool. Next, choose your tech stack. Okay, so any questions on hiring people or operations manuals before we move on to the fun stuff, the tech stack? All right, let's do the fun stuff. So there are some brokerages that give you a full tech stack or have an ecosystem that has all of these tools in it. I will say from experience, most of these brokerages have very low adoption of their tools because every agent runs their business differently. What tool do you use for CMAs? What tool do you use for email marketing, for your CRM? There are CRMs like KV Core or Lofty, which used to be called Chime, that will actually do a lot of this in one platform. So like I know Lofty will do CMAs, both KV Core and Lofty will do email marketing for you. They do CRM, they can do a website for you with IDX feed. I think Lofty even does some print and social marketing design stuff too. I mean, their ecosystem is huge. So if you have any interest in upgrading your CRM to something that covers more of these aspects of your business, let me know. We can talk about CRMs. I'd be happy to get a demo set up for you for either KV Core or Lofty. Other things like task management, client management. This is the project management tools I was talking about, like Asana or Trello. What do you use for your transaction docs? Are you guys using Zip Forms? Have you tried Radius Office app yet? Have you tried using our offer writing? We've got listings and checklists coming out very, very soon here. Handle all of your transaction docs and contracts. No more Zip Forms, no more SkySlope forms. It's going to be awesome. What do you use for print? Do you go to Kinko's? Do you order them on Corfact or Vistaprint? Like, where do you get your flyers from? Who do you order your postcards through? So think about, and these are just some of the examples of the different types of solutions you'll need, but what do you guys use for your CMAs? Is anybody just doing CMAs directly from the MLS, or are some of you using Moxie Present or maybe Cloud CMA, something like that? Does anybody want to share what you use for CMAs?
I use RPR.
Okay. And are those beautiful, or do they get the job done?
They're cute. I won't say beautiful. They're cute, and it does get the job done.
And RPR is through your MLS, right?
MLS, right?
Yeah. And then Christian, you said in the chat you're using Cloud CMA. That's also through your you got access to that through your MLS, right? Awesome. I like Cloud CMA and Moxie because you're able to add information about you. So you can put a full listing presentation together in Cloud CMA or Moxie Present, and it gives you both a printable and a digital CMA experience. So if you want to look a little bit more tech savvy to your potential sellers and you want that digital CMA experience, those are both really, really great tools. Cloud CMA is available through a lot of MLSs. Moxie, we have a partnership with and can get you access to it for a small fee. So if you're curious on any of those, let me know. What about email marketing? Have any of you used MailChimp? Or Antonio, you mentioned Bonbon. That's email marketing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was just going back to the CMA, and I just wanted to respond to that because I use actually the MLS. However, what I present for a CMA is a book like this. It's a hardcover book.
I love those.
And those are, I mean, all the information,
Mhm.
the CMA and the houses are in here.
Yeah, so you create a CMA online, you print it out, and then you have a binding tool at your house?
Correct.
Awesome.
I bind it. I have that in the office here. I bind it. And to me, it's something that helps because the client says, oh, wow, this is beautiful. And I said,
So
yeah,
professional.
keep it on your coffee table. I said, when people come over, they can see it and you can tell them what it's all about.
Yeah.
So that is my CME. I've been
Oh,
doing
wow.
that.
I never thought about a bonding machine.
Well,
Wow.
yeah, because, I mean, the bonding machine and so on is cost nothing almost, you know, $60, $70, basically that's it, you know. It's the books that you have to get the hardcover book that
Mhm.
are very easily, readily available at anywhere, you
And
know.
they're you can get them branded to you.
Well, I don't get them branded. Actually, my first sheet is this.
Oh, okay, so you put your branding on the first page.
Put it
that
in
you
the first page, so when they close it, it looks like this.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, so that's what I use, and to me, I find that it works really, really well because not too many people do it.
There's not a lot of inventory. There aren't a ton of houses for sale. So when you go to a listing appointment, you need to really impress them. So that's one great way of standing out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it. Anyone else have other recommendations for how you can stand out with your potential sellers? All right, well, let's move on. So with email marketing, there's a pretty cool platform called ActivePipe, which was recently acquired by Moxie. ActivePipe is integrated with the MLSs. It's got IDX built into it. So you can pull in listings from the MLS right into your emails without having to type in all of the property details, no copy and paste. It'll pull it all in for you. So ActivePipe, great real estate specific email marketing platform, beautifully designed email templates in there. You can integrate it with a lot of CRMs. So that'll help you more easily get the audiences set up for your recurring emails. So highly recommend some sort of monthly newsletter to your database if you don't already. And that's a great tool because it pulls in the listings from the MLS for you. ActivePipe. If you're interested in ActivePipe, let me know. We have a bundle with Moxie. So it's Moxie Present for CMAs, ActivePipe for emails, and Moxie Promote for digital advertising. We have a bundle for that at a pretty good deal. So let me know if you're interested in that. CRM, we have partnerships with KV Core and Follow Up Boss, and we are working on finalizing a partnership with Lofty as well. So you guys have lots of choices. Of course, you're not limited to those. We just get special pricing for you. It's really important to have a CRM, and it should not just be a database. It should be a tool that you're leveraging every day to help you figure out who you need to reach out to manage your email drip campaigns, to manage your outreach, to keep track of who's in what neighborhood, when you represented them, so you can send them anniversary reminders, when their birthday is, you can send them happy birthdays and all that kind of stuff. So your CRM should work for you. And if it's not working for you, then you're wasting your money. But this is your gold mine. This is where your business is going to come from. So you really should be leveraging your CRM to get you more business from the people you already know. What tool are you using for print or social marketing design? How many of you use Canva? Awesome. There's some other tools out there. I mean, if you're super fancy, you can use InDesign. I personally like Canva for really flashy modern designs, but there are some platforms like CoreFact, which we'll talk about when we get to the print stuff. CoreFact actually has a bunch of templates built in for social as well as print, which a lot of people don't know about. So I would check out CoreFact if you're not familiar with it. Super great for printing your flyers and postcards. You can also get branded hardcovers like Antonio was showing through CoreFact. You can even get your for sale signs and stuff through them. And they have really awesome postcard campaigns where you can turn postcards into lead gen. It has a personalized QR code for every postcard. And so if somebody goes to get a property value report, even if they never type in their address, it will know which address they're from because of that unique QR code. So it's a great way to get potential seller leads, really sneaky. Love CoreFact. What do you use for your task management? Have any of you set up Asana or Trello or Monday or any of those project management type tools? No, I would start there. If you've never documented any of your processes, start with Asana or Trello. It's going to be a game changer for you.
Jess, I need to leave, but before I leave, can I ask you a small question?
Absolutely.
So I used to use the Moxie backend intro, but their UI is so different. When a KV Core, we sign up as an individual agents when they charge like 400, 500 per month. Their UI looks super nice, but when we are using it through Radius, like as a partner, it feels so different. It's not the best of their UI we are seeing. So
So you're not seeing the normal KV Core UI, you're seeing a different version because of our partnership with them?
it's the same KV Core, but the UI looks like somewhere in 90s. Like, they're like old style fonts, old style things. But when we like sign up with a different, like individually, it looks different. When I used to use the Moxie at intro, it used to be like crisp and like it used to be so nice. But now it's like a little different. Is that maybe we can sit down and check it out?
Yeah, I'd love to learn more about that. That's really weird.
Yeah. Thank you for the time. I have to leave.
Hopefully you got some value from it. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lavanya. Good to see you.
All right, let's see what other slides I have in here. Oh, just some examples. Okay, so for CMAs, we talked about Moxie and Cloud CMA. For email marketing, MailChimp and ActivePipe. And Antonio mentioned it earlier. I don't have the logo up here, but BombBomb's a great one if you're into video. For CRMs, Follow Up Boss, Lofty, KV Core. Boomtown's another popular one. Brivity is getting more and more popular. Some options there. For print or social design, you could look at Corefact and Canva. We can get you an account for Canva for free. We'll get you like the business account if you don't have one already. So we'll cover that cost for you if you want it. Let us know. For task management, client management, I've been saying Asana and Trello. So those are those two right there. Monday.com is another good one. For your transaction documents, contracts, disclosures, I would highly recommend using our Radius platform if you haven't already. When we get rid of SkySlope, actually next year, you'll have to use the Radius platform. So if you're still using Zip Forms, or if you're still using SkySlope Forms, or even DocuSign transaction rooms, any of those, if you're still using them right now, today, try going into the Radius Office app and write an offer through there. And you'll see yes, Shannon, I will absolutely share the slides. Our transaction management platform has gone through a huge overhaul and will continue to be better and better and better through the end of this year. So highly encourage you guys to try that out. And then for printing, check out Corefact. We're working on a partnership with Corefact as well. And then I think a lot of people end up using FedEx or Kinko's locally for quick flyers. Vistaprint is great if you have a couple of days to spare, because they've got really, really good pricing on pretty much anything print. Cool. And then this last slide here is just about what's next. So we talked about figuring out where your business comes from, setting goals for each of your buckets of where your business comes from, set a realistic goal of how much you can actually close there. Think about in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years, where do you want your business to be? And in 5 years, if you want to be doing 100 units or 100 million, what does your team need to look like in order to achieve that? And you're not going to get there overnight. So I'm a visual person. I like org charts. I like flow charts. So make an org chart for yourself. In order to do 100 transactions a year, who do you need to have around you to support you? And then what systems need to be in place so that you can effectively manage your team? Do you even want to manage a team? Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't care how much business you do, and you just want to surround yourself with other agents and maybe get a small cut of the business that they're doing because they want that team environment as well. So if you're interested in growing or scaling your operations, or you want some more personalized consultation or conversation about your business, reach out anytime. I'd be happy to schedule time with any of you guys. Thank you so much for coming today. Hopefully you got some value from it. And Ela will share out shortly the slides and the recording. And yeah, email me, jess@radiusagent.com, if you've got any questions. I'm here for you and want to help you guys achieve your goals.
I got a
Thanks
question.
so much.
Can I
Oh,
ask
go
you-
ahead, Antonio.
Yeah, can I ask a question
Thank
here?
you, Jess. Thank you.
Okay.
You were mentioning about going